Welcome to this week's edition of Coach Prep. Coach Don and I are working on episode number 159. We've got a really good topic for you today. We're going to talk about the idea of, can a home run be a bad thing? Before we get into that topic, though, let's talk about our sponsors. First, the Anderson Bat Company.
Everything Fast Pitch is very proud to have Anderson Bat Company as our presenting sponsor. Anderson Bat Company is using the latest and greatest bat technology to corner the market in the fast pitch world. They have the -9 Rocket Tech, the -10 Carbon, and the -11 Carbon Light. Anderson Bat Company is using this technology to put a high-performing bat in the hands of hitters that really know the difference between a good bat and a great bat. We're also working with Anderson to provide a discount for all of our listeners. Go to the Anderson Bat Company website and order your bats. Use the EFP20 discount, which is for everything fast pitch, and you'll get a 20% discount. It's a great way for you to save a little bit of money on a great bat and also help support everything fast pitch at the same time.
I also want to talk about patreon.com/everythingfastpitch. We've been talking now for a couple of months and have really been excited to see the additional patrons that have come on board. But we definitely and desperately need more people to do so. If you see value in what we're doing, if you want to help us keep everything fast pitch and Coach Prep alive, we need more people to come on board as patrons or advertisers, one or the other. But I think obviously it's a lot easier for the average person to become a patron. You go to patreon.com/everythingfastpitch. There's 3 different levels of support. You know, as we've been talking about quite a bit, the fact that we've added a bunch of patrons has been a great thing. It's kept the fire burning and allowed us to be optimistic enough, thinking that we're going to be able to get to the point where this podcasting is going to be a break-even endeavor. But we're not there yet. Because of the increases, it gives us hope, but we need more hope. We need more people. So again, go to patreon.com/everythingfastpitch. Help keep everything fast pitch and Coach Prep alive. So Don, is a home run a bad thing? And I think there's 2 different angles to this discussion. One is what it means to a team. And then secondly, what it could potentially mean to an individual player. And so, Stan was talking about it before. When we're thinking about, big rallies and when teams are scoring runs in bunches, obviously, if you score 2 or 3 or 4 runs in an inning, it's not because, or very rarely because, 3 or 4 different people hit home runs. But it's usually a single, then a double, then a single, then a double, a walk or an error gets mixed in. And before you know it, we've got a rally going. We got some runs. And then all of a sudden, boom, out of the blue, somebody hits that home run. And it's like it caps off the inning. It's like it ends the inning almost, even though it's not going to be the last out. It's almost like it gives the defense a chance to catch their breath, and it kind of kills our momentum a little bit in some ways. And so that was the first thought I had about it, was that the idea of a home run might be a bad thing when we're talking about the idea of keeping a rally going for a team.
Yeah, no, I think that's a legit for sure, because the bases are cleared. You're not worried about anything other than just the batter that's coming up next. So I think that can be a real thing for sure. I know when we first pulled this up as a topic for today's discussion, I've seen so many times with so many really good teams, situations where, like a home run, a big home run early in the first inning of a game, when we're facing a team that we're supposed to be far better than, that after that home run, everybody goes, okay, see, it's going to be one of those kind of days, and everybody kind of just takes their foot off the pedal. We all kind of just coast for a little bit and figure it's going to be that easy breezy day. But as the day unfolds, in the second inning, the other team gets one of those runs back. And then in the third inning, they actually get 2. And now all of a sudden, instead of us being up 5 or 6-0, it's 6-5, and we're in the 6th or 7th inning, and we've let this team kind of nibble their way back. Because we
right. And it feels like they have the momentum.
Yeah, and when in that first inning we had that big rally and hit that big hit, and that home run kind of just solidified the whole idea that today was just going to be another one of those easy days, because that's what we're used to. And I can remember coaching many days like that, and it's like to sell upon the group that you have to stay on that pedal and keep battling like you think that's going to happen. You have to, I guess, feel it and taste it a few times to really get it, but you have to sell that on the group that, every inning is just as important as the last until that game is over. So when that topic came up, I kind of started thinking and remembering times like that. So that home run can be a little bit challenging for the rest of that ball game, maybe.
Right. Well, and I think one of the things that happens is it's just a human nature thing, right? If it feels like it's going to be easy because we hit a couple home runs or we hit a home run early, that, as you said, you kind of take your foot off the gas pedal a little bit, you kind of coast a little bit, maybe you relax a little bit when you shouldn't, and all of a sudden, you've just kind of lost that competitive edge. Two different times in my life that we had ridiculous rallies that, just are like, when I think back on it, it's just mind-boggling. We had a game we played in when I was coaching at UW Parkside. We were down. We almost got run ruled in the fifth. We almost got run ruled in the sixth. It was like, we were down by 7, and the other team had, the run rule run at third base 2 innings in a row, and somehow we managed to get out of it 2 innings in a row. But we came up in the bottom of the 7th inning, down 7 runs. And we gave up, got the first 2 outs pretty quickly, like, pretty routine. And all of a sudden, the craziest thing in the history of my lifetime started to happen. It was a single, then a double, then a walk, then a single, then a double. And all of a sudden, we started gaining some momentum. We started getting back into the game. We ended up coming all the way back and winning that game with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th inning, and never had anything more than a double in that entire inning. So whatever it was, 11 hitters in a row, I think it was 10 or 11 hitters in a row got on base one way or another. And, talk about the ultimate rally, and I can't help but think as we were talking about this, so let's say we were down by 7, let's say we got 2 or 3 runs back and somebody hit a 2-run home run. All of a sudden we're still down 2. And it's like, oh my God, we got to start all over again, versus the situation we were in. It's like, like the snowball was just rolling downhill and it just kept gaining momentum and getting bigger and bigger. And all of a sudden, we got a walk-off double in a game that we, realistically could have been and might have should have been run ruled, earlier in the game. And so, when I thought about this discussion, I kept thinking about what would have happened. I wonder if we could have got it going again if one of the kids had hit a home run. And
Sure.
That team, as well as anybody, we had a bunch of home run hitters. So even, the fact that, that nobody in a rally like that on our team hit a home run is kind of shocking.
Kind of weird.
Thinking back on it. But so the momentum thing is real in our game. People try to talk about softball and baseball like momentum's not real like it is in some other sports. So that momentum is absolutely real. And if you can keep the momentum going, 1 base at a time, 2 bases at a time, sometimes I think that has a lot more potential to do something good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the flip side of it is if you've got a 2-out rally going, of course, you're 1 pop-up or 1 routine fly ball away from the inning being over. So maybe your choice was somebody hits a pop-up and makes an out or hits a home run. I guess we'd probably take the home run in that situation. But momentum is definitely a real thing. The other part about it that I want us to think about is the impact that it has on individual players. And, one of the things that, you and I know, because we spend so much time working with hitters, that they're all excited for and can't wait for the first time they hit one.
For sure.
That first over the fence home run. And honestly, it's so funny when they finally hit their first one. They're so surprised by it. They're so amazed by it that usually their home run trot, looks like a sprint around the bases because they don't know how to slow down and enjoy it yet.
Right.
Thing that I think happens with some hitters is after they finally hit a home run or two, they start, they get it in their head like that's the true measuring stick. If I don't hit a bomb, I didn't have a good at bat, or if I don't hit a home run, that somehow I'm letting everybody down. And I think the thing we have to be cautious of with all players, but especially younger players, is that once they have that one bite of the apple, we have to make sure that they understand that, that it's not going to happen every time. It might not happen for weeks. It might not happen for months. And, it might be a long time before they hit another one. If they start getting down or depressed or thinking that they're not doing a good job or maybe not contributing to the team, because they're not hitting more home runs. I think we got to keep that thought in mind to make sure that we're keeping them on an even keel.
Tori, if I just had $1 for every time that we had someone that hit their first home run, that on their very next at bat they hit pop up or 2 or 3 pop up in a row after that home run, because they're so wired and excited to try and do it again, that just like you said, it might take a couple of weeks to have it happen again. And in the meantime, we just need to hit the ball hard. If we hit the ball hard, good things happen. And occasionally we do hit home runs. But yeah, it's kind of a phenomenon, I think. I'm super excited when a student comes and says, hey, I got my first home run. And then, and then we finished the story, and it's like, yeah, and I got a great line drive after that. And I'm just so excited even more excited for them, when they can finish the story that way. But always excited when they hit a home run. That's awesome.
Well, and the one thing about hitting home runs, I think everybody who's been good at it will admit that they don't hit them when they're thinking about trying to hit a home run. If they're going up, they're all muscled up trying to overpower the ball.
Yeah.
That's not when it happens. They're loose and swinging well, and their swing feels natural. That all of a sudden the ball starts jumping off the bat. And one of the things that I spend time with hitters on all the time is that we were trying to teach them. My goal is for them to be able to get every ounce of energy that their body creates, every bit of power that they can possibly create to go into the ball every time they hit it. That doesn't mean, though, that every time they hit it, I think they should be hitting it 250 feet. There are a lot of kids that getting every ounce of energy that they can into the ball means that they hit a screaming line drive that goes through the 5-6 hole, and the shortstop and third baseman have no chance to make a play on it.
Yeah.
And for a lot of kids, that's what power translates to, or a ground ball base hit that's got so much steam behind it that it gets out on the grass and it's almost like it has a jetpack attached to it, and all of a sudden it's rolling all the way to the fence and they're getting a double or a triple. I think sometimes we get a little bit too wrapped up in the power idea of hitting home runs. And I caution kids all the time, and we have this discussion all the time. I want them to hit the ball as hard as they can every single time. That's going to mean eventually they're going to hit some home runs. Means they're going to hit some screaming line drives that go right to the shortstop, and they hit the ball as well as it can possibly be hit, and they got nothing to show for it. As long as they know they're hitting the ball hard and swinging well and being consistent in their swing, then they're doing their job, and the home runs are going to come when they do. But can a home run be a bad thing for an individual player? It can be, and Don, you hit that nail on the head. I hit my first home run, and then I went 0 for a month because I was trying to hit another one so bad, versus the kid that hits one and then still is the same hitter for the next month, because even though they hit a home run, it doesn't change anything in what they're trying to do.
It's interesting to watch for sure.
One of the things that I think sometimes as coaches, that kind of bring it back to the whole coach prep idea, for us as coaches, to kind of keep it all in perspective, and the message that we're sending to our players, what we're hoping that they'll do, what we want them to do, what our goals are for them as hitters, can kind of help keep that all in perspective. If a kid thinks the only thing that I care about is them hitting home runs, then they're going to think I'm disappointed an awful lot, and they're going to be disappointed an awful lot.
I was going to say, when they do hit a home run, they might be in the 8th spot. If we move them to the cleanup hitter in the next game without sharing what you're just describing right now, are we kind of telling them that we're hoping or planning for them to hit that home run again? Yeah, so that can be kind of tough too.
That's a really good one, Don. Make sure that that you're having those conversations with your players, because if they think that you put me in a power position, you put me in the 3rd or 4th spot in the lineup, I've had kids say, well, that must mean they expect me to hit a home run, so I'm trying to hit a home run every time.
So I'm supposed to swing harder. Yeah.
I don't think that that's really what coaches are thinking when they make those choices.
Right.
But if they're not talking it through with their players, you can't expect the players to figure it out on their own.
Right.
So can a home run be a bad thing? Yes, it can be, depending upon the situation. It's always still going to be a fun and exciting thing. I know, to me, sometimes I think one of the most aggravating things that I can remember is a day when we're losing 6-1 in the 7th inning, and somebody hits a solo home run, and everybody on our team has to sprint out there to have a celebration at home plate because we're still losing by 4.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure I see the same enthusiasm for that as I might have some other days. So
that's strange, isn't it? Yeah.
All right, so that's going to wrap up episode number 159. Please make sure you support Anderson Bat Company. Go to patreon.com if you can. We definitely need more patrons. We would love to have your support. And then also make sure you go to the fastpitchprep.com website. You can order your Square Cuts training discs there. You also have access to the YouTube channel and the blogs. There's over 700 blogs, tons of information available to you there. And it's a great resource. So that's going to wrap up again, as I said, for our episode number 159. For Coach Don McKinley and our producer, Stan Lewis, this is Coach Torrey saying thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you again next week.